in college get pennies on the dollar when they turn in their textbooks. I'd like to turn that upside down. If I'm a great note taker, why shouldn't I be able to sell a used textbook to somebody in next semester's class for more with my great notes, okay? Also, back in at TOC earlier this year, Bob Pritchett, the CEO of Logos, had a great statement here where he says he believes in selling the network, not the book. And what this conjures up is an image of products that build on top of each other. And I think we've got to think about it that way too, rather than just individual products. Another personal beef of mine is I hate buying and reading a 400-page book that has about 25 pages worth of content. Okay, I will pay more for a shortened version. Go ahead and sell me the whole thing if you want, but also include a summary of that written by the author so I can get through it a lot quicker. Next up, how many times have you seen a book on a shelf or a friend telling you you've got a great book? I'd love to be able to pull out my camera and use my Reader app to take a picture of it and automatically have the sample from that ebook reader sending the content, the sample content, to my phone. One click, take a picture of it, boom, next thing I know, the sample's downloaded. Along the same lines, I'd love to see one-click access to the index. So today you can touch a book on your iPad in the Kindle app and get a dictionary look at it. I'd love to be able to see the full index that way too. Another way to extend things are with these QR codes. If you're not familiar with them, you're going to see a lot more of them. I think they can extend the print book and the ebook. It adds another surface from your smartphone onto the experience, so you can take quizzes and just do all sorts of cool things to extend that content. Lastly, I'm a big fan of loyalty programs. This isn't my keychain. Mine actually has about twice that number of little loyalty cards on it. But I'd love to see e-retailers having reasons for me to keep coming back, and building points, making it meaningful. And finally, even though I use an iPhone, I use an iPad, I use a MacBook Pro, I'm probably going to jump ship and join the Android revolution next year. Just again, because I feel like it's less of a lock-in than Apple's platform. So anyhow, that's my spiel. Like I say here, let's continue the discussion. Here's a way to get a hold of me, and thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much, Joe. I should point out one of the slides Joe had up, the slide that was the dummy page on the iPad with the Post-it and the QR code, is a book by a guy named Nick Bilton called I Live in the Future and Here's How It Works. And I recommend it to everybody here in this room. I have no affiliation with it whatsoever. But it is a magnificent book that talks both about what technology is going to allow us to be able to do as culture makers and culture creators and culture producers, and also why our brains are gonna be able to handle it. We're gonna be able to handle the multitasking. So up next, we have Rochelle Grayson. And Rochelle comes to us from the nice part of North America, from Canada, more specifically from British Columbia. She's the CEO of BookRiff, which has developed a technology platform to allow users to gather slices of content from multiple sources, chapters from published books, articles, posts from websites, etc., and remix and resell, effectively allowing everybody to be their own anthology editor. Ladies and gentlemen, Rochelle Grayson.
Okay, good afternoon. I have to apologize. My voice is already going. Und für die Deutschen tut mir furchtbar leid, dass ich das nicht auf Deutsch mache, aber die Worte waren eben kürzer auf Englisch. So I'm going to take you on a thought experiment around the consumer co-creation. And really what I want to do is I want you to think of a little time in the future. I'm not going to say exactly when, but imagine a time, sort of a science fiction time, when we're really going to have a world of consumers that are creating some really unique content in conjunction with publishers. And what does this really, really mean? Next slide. Ooh, I guess I'm a fast talker, faster than I thought. There is an abundance of content. And I want you to look at this picture. And one thing that's interesting is that every single device is of a certain size. So mobility is going to mean everything. And when I talk about digital content, I'm not just talking about ebooks. I'm talking about music. I'm talking about video. I'm talking about a variety of technologies and really allowing all of a sudden the consumer to have access to that. Consumers to access it and consumers to do some interesting things with that. It's opening up for them what historically has been only available to publishers. But more than consumers, I'm really looking at domain experts, yes, and curators, because they're the ones who really can make a lot of sense out of the noise we see. There's so much noise. So those domain experts who are writing blogs and who are on speaking tours and who have really understood and are synthesizing the best of breed, the cream of the crop, all those stories that make the most sense, they now have tools available to them to basically compile that and to create what I'm calling sort of custom compilations of all the pieces of technology, no matter where they live, no matter who owns them, and that they really can take that and create something new, adding their own flavor, adding their own ideas to that space, and really taking that to what I would call a world of personalized, customized books. And in my case, every book would be orange, because I love orange. And as you all probably have seen, I'm the orange woman in the room. So basically, orange, you can customize color, you can customize content, you can customize whatever's going on, but it really is around these customized books. And these books are going to be available wherever, whenever, however. It's self-printing, print on demand, or obviously in all the various e-readers and digital channels. We have to offer the full experience to consumers because that's what they want. It is no longer what we want, it's what they want. But we have to have marketplaces and places where we can transact and where people can find that content and where people can sell that content, because everybody's going to have a different way of slicing and dicing it, different smells, different flavors, different attributes. We want those things to go through. Examples, students, we're seeing that in the education space already, are buying course packs from their professors that are custom textbooks with chapters from open textbooks sitting side by side with paid content. It makes their life easier, and more importantly, they don't have to schlep them on their back and pay really high chiropractor bills. Travelers are traveling around the world. Now they can actually get the information. We're seeing in the travel industry a lot of this happening, slicing and dicing, again, that database concept, getting the information you want, putting it together with restaurants, putting it together with wineries, hiking trails, whatever it is that makes you happy. But then there are small people. How many of you really are really enthusiastic about amber? But there are people out there who read books and books and books about amber and the life of amber and what happens with resin and what lives in that resin. And obviously it's a wonderful jewel as well. But we want to be able to give them a voice as well. There's always a do-it-yourself projects. I'm not saying anyone should do this themselves, but I think that we all have kitchen projects and bathroom projects, and basically when it comes to water, you want to make sure you're doing it right. So we want to offer you the tips you need, when you need it, how you need it. And then there are also diehard fans, people who love Lord of the Rings, want to write all the Norse mythology around it and create really fan fiction around the things that are happening. Let's let them combine some copyrighted content with their own content, with other things that they're creating, and create some really intricate and interesting stories. Important thing, everybody gets paid. So what we want to do is make sure that all those rights and accesses are done automated and that everyone gets paid, whether you get paid 25 cents, $1, $5 for your piece of content. If you are in that compilation, you get paid for the piece of work that you're doing. We manage all the permissions and rights, so if there is a key to unlock those rights, we make sure that the consumer actually understands and sees what's going on. And this is really critical to make sure people feel free to put their content up there, make sure it's really well maintained. And then real-time information. We were saying earlier, you have to know what's going on in real time. Markets are changing. Look at the stock market. Content will have different prices. There'll be some seasonality to it. We want to provide you with the tools and the analytics to understand exactly what you're selling, what prices and recommendations the market is going for. At the end of the day, it's all about choice on both sides, from a publisher's perspective as well from a consumer's perspective. Publishers, you set the price, you set the permissions, and then the consumers can pick the pieces of content that they feel really suit their needs and really do what it is. I'm Rochelle Grayson. I'm with Bookriff. If you have more questions, I'd love to continue the conversation. Ja, wie Sie wollen. Also bitte auch auf Deutsch, also und sogar auf Spanisch auch noch. Okay? Also tschüss.
Not only is she from the nice part of North America, but she's multilingual. I can't promise we'll all be multilingual right now, and I don't necessarily know if Nick Ruffalo is necessarily multilingual, but he is a guy who has come out of not the publishing industry, but has been a technology entrepreneur and innovator for 14 years, and this is his first opportunity to sally forth into this crazy and beautiful business we call books.